Greetings, everyone. I am Pete Pardo from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility, bringing you new album reviews all the damn time. Today we're going to take a look at the brand new, it's the 7th studio album from the Swedish band. They're back. It's been 5 years? About 5 years since their last album, which was called Black Metal, which wasn't black metal at all. It was more of like a very somber acoustic guitar and vocal music from the band called Witchcraft. Their latest one is called Idag. Idag, I-D-A-G. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it. Idag? That's what I've been calling it. Maybe it's Idag, but I think it's Idag. Let's take a look. And they are now on Heavy Psych Sounds Records. They formerly were on Nuclear Blast. They're on Heavy Psych Sounds Records. A great label for them. They're out of Italy. We've reviewed a lot of stuff on Heavy Psych Sounds over the years. They're a great label for all your doom, stoner, heavy psychedelic rock stuff. So let's take a look at the digipack here. A lot of blue, more blue. There's another alternate version of the cover, right? Kind of like that, right? I mean, I don't mind this at all, but that's kind of cool also. And I don't believe there's anything behind the CD. No, more blue. The band as it stands today. Of course, the band leader, Magnus Pilander, on all guitars, vocals, writes the music and the lyrics. Philip Pelosian on bass. On drums, Par Hjulström. Hjulström? H-J-U-L-S-T-R-M. So either the H is silent or the J is silent. So it's either a Holstrom or Hjulström, one or the other. And then on one track, you've got a guest on synthesizer, Bjorn Ekholm Eriksson. All right. So, Witchcraft. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Witchcraft, they're one of the great Swedish bands that debuted in the early, mid-2000s, alongside bands like Graveyard and a whole bunch of others, right? I've always loved the music of Witchcraft. It's doom. It's heavy psychedelic rock. It's kind of occult rock. Some of it's just straight up hard rock. They have a lot of really good albums. I gotta say, I didn't really care for the black metal album, their last one. Never even bothered to get it. I've heard it. Not really my thing. You know, him just kind of sitting crooning on an acoustic guitar. It's very kind of depressing and morose, and some people dig it. A lot of people I know hate it. So, but all the rest of the albums are great. The Alchemist, the self-title. I mean, there's just some great albums in this catalog. I'm a big fan of this band. So I was looking forward to them coming back after that last release, which was kind of like a Magnus solo album, to do a more band effort here with Idag, and very cool stuff. We've got, 10 tracks. It's pretty short. It's like 40 minutes. I shouldn't say short. That's probably where it needs to be. It starts off with the title track, which is a great tune. Big, lumbering, bruising slab of Swedish doom. Now, half the album is sung in Swedish. All right, so you got Magnus singing in his native tongue here. Got this kind of yearning, mournful, emotional vocal style, especially on the stuff sung in Swedish. But the tone of a lot of this album is that kind of slow, menacing, doomy vibe, bluesy, doomy vibe. So his vocal style really lends itself to stuff like this. Big, massive riffing on this. You got some nice bluesy, wah-wah drenched guitar solos. This one is somber, it's heavy, it's 8+ minutes long. It's one of the best tracks on the album. Awesome. Next up, and I apologize if I mispronounce any of this stuff, but Drömmar auf Vis. All right. Next track reminds me of Blue Cheer, or even like November. Remember the old Swedish heavy rock band from the 60s? They were kind of like the Swedish Cream. Great band if you never checked them out. Kind of sounds like them. In fact, I get a vibe of that on this album quite a bit. It's bluesy, heavy, hard rock, big guitar and bass riffs, short track. A bunch of the tracks on here are like 3 minutes long. Then you got a couple of longer ones, but this is a really good one. Next one is called Drömmen op dit och Fortelse, or something like that. Big, long title. Another short, bruising, heavy track. Love the riffs. Seems to me like as you get through this album that the band is going for a more simpler dirge-like formula on this album, which I don't really have a problem with. It's just very different. Sounds very, very old school. Very old school. Next up is Du Vil, a short little acoustic guitar and vocal piece. It's kind of got this haunting, folky, bluesy feel to it. Kind of reminds me of like Coven. Remember the old band Coven? Some of the stuff in this album kind of has that vibe as well. It's got this weird, spooky, kind of occult vibe to the whole thing. The next up is called Glantan, another short acoustic piece. Pretty cool, right? Nice enough. Burning Cross is the first song where you hear English vocals on the album. It's a crushing doom track. Might be the heaviest song on the album. Wicked riffing, nasty wah-wah passages. Kick-ass song. Burning Cross, easily my favorite track on the album. That and the title track are the ones for me. Just a real heavy piece, really, really good. You want the doom from this band? There you got it. The next track is called Irreligious Flamboyant Flame. More of like a heavy blues rock type of thing. Got a nice kind of shuffle to it. Reminds me of like kind of Cream meets Blue Cheer with a dose of like very early Sabbath, like Sabbath's first album thrown in. Cool track. I like that one. Then you got another acoustic and vocal track. It's called Christmas. Kind of dreary. Goes on a little too long for my money. It's like 6 minutes long. It's easily my least favorite on the track. It reminds me of the stuff off of the last album. You know, one or two on here I don't really mind, but there's a couple. So, and, you know, a couple of them are okay. This one I don't really care for all that much. Next up is called Spirit, which is a bluesy, doomy dirge. Kind of sounds like Free meets Pentagram meets kind of Crazy Horse. Kind of the guitar tone on this reminds me of like Crazy Horse at their slow, kind of dirgy best. I mean, it's kind of like a one-note track. It doesn't really like do much other than stay in the lane that it's in, but it's not bad. I kind of like it. I like the heavy guitars, but it's just kind of, I wish there was like a little bit more variety thrown into the track, but it's still pretty good. And then the last piece is Duville, Slight Return, which is another brief little acoustic and vocal piece. I think it's like under a minute long. It's kind of throwaway. So what is my summary and rating for this? So much of this is quite good. Though I'm not really understanding his fascination with these little folky acoustic guitar and vocal pieces, because I think if you take out, you know, forget exactly how long a couple of them are, but you've got easily, you know, you have 4 tracks of that on this 10-track album. One's like 6 minutes long, the other 3 are fairly short. So it's roughly about 10 minutes of that in a 40-minute album. You know, maybe leave 1 or 2 of them in, give me another heavy track. Yeah, I might have liked that a little bit more, but I guess he didn't get all that out of his system on black metal. I don't know. But for the most part, this is pretty traditional, old school, bluesy, heavy rock and doom. And I think the really good stuff on here should really satisfy most long-time Witchcraft fans. But like I said, there are a couple kind of tracks on here that don't really do a hell of a lot for me, but the stuff that I do like, I like a lot. I was going to give this a 4 out of 5 star, but I don't think overall start to finish it's quite up to that. I think this is a very solid 3.75 out of 5. So, yeah, I do dig it. I dig the heavy stuff on here. The mellow tracks, not really all that into, but I think there's enough good stuff on here. The majority of this album, like I said, 30 out of the 40 minutes, pretty damn good. So, yeah, that's what you got here. Idag by Witchcraft, Heavy Psych Sounds Records. If you heard it, let us know what you think down in the comments below. If you like this band, you like this sort of kind of bluesy, doomy, heavy rock, I think you might like this as well. Just like, you know, be forewarned that like half the album pretty much is sung in Norwegian. I mean, in Swedish. Too much Norway on the brain. It's sung in Swedish. But like I said, there are some English language vocals as well. So check it out. See what you think. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube all together all the damn time. I'll have the link to the Bandcamp page down below in the comments so you can go easily on there and go check it out and see if it's something you might want. So thanks for watching. I am Pete Pardo. We'll see you soon with more reviews. Got a lot coming up, so stay tuned for them and more. And we have a live show coming up tonight and tomorrow, 2 nights in a row of live shows. So if you're still hanging with us here tonight, we've got a live stream tonight. Lynn Versace and I will be doing a Monday Night Live. We're going to be talking about tribute bands, all this fascination with tribute bands these days, locally and nationally and around the world. And how about these like legendary bands who are down to like minimal original members and they're creating new music. They're still playing live, but some people are like not into it because to them, they're more a tribute band. So what's the difference between an actual tribute band and a legendary band who is, lineup is whittled down to almost next to nothing from the original classic band, but they're still going out there and playing the song. So we're going to kind of talk about that tonight, take your questions and things like that. So that's tonight. Tomorrow, we've got live, Chris Allo and myself with the Sabbath Stones. We're going to talk about, seeing as we got this big show coming up in the UK in Birmingham in just a couple weeks, right? The last ever Black Sabbath performance. We're going to talk about the last time we saw Sabbath live. We're going to talk about the End Tour, what that meant to us, what it was like to go see the band on that tour, and is that kind of, how that is sitting with us as the last impression of Black Sabbath in our minds, right? So that's coming up tomorrow night. So we're going to be talking Sabbath on the Sabbath Stones live with you guys tomorrow. So 2 live shows in a row. Lynn and myself tonight, Chris and myself tomorrow. Tune in, and we'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.